Mr. Reyes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I apologize for not having been here before, but we were finishing up on the House side, and I just now got an opportunity to leave there, and wanted to welcome both Mr. Berger and General Scowcroft, who I've had the opportunity to talk extensively. We served on the civilian oversight for the Air Force Academy, and ironically enough, some of the conversations dealing with today's subject, we discussed about the commissions that were talking essentially about not if there was going to be an attack on the homeland, but when it was going to occur. And of course, Mr. Berger, on many occasions on Air Force One, traveling with the President, discussing many different issues. But I'm curious, first, General, what you recommend, given your statement that the safest place for a terrorist is in the United States. What are your recommendations to resolve that dilemma that we're facing?
Well, I think in general we ought to look at terrorism this way, that aside one thing, which is to try to penetrate terrorist networks and activities, is that every time the terrorists speak, every time they move, every time they spend money, every time they get money, there are some traces of those activities. Now, theoretically, it's hard to find them, but theoretically you can. There are several problems, though, because in those activities, there are similar activities of millions of other people doing innocent things the same way. How do you distinguish between them? And also, how, since many of these may be in a foreign language, how do you get them translated quickly enough to be able to act on them? And in addition, you're dealing with volumes that are horrendous. I think we need to look at technology here for a solution to each one of those. And the one I didn't mention, of course, is how you look through all of these without violating the privacy of all those innocent individuals doing it. I think you can do some things with machines and technology before they get to human beings that help preserve the privacy thing and still let us get more of a handle than we're able to do now.
Because one of the big concerns that a lot of us have in Congress are concerns dealing with minorities and racial profiling and those kinds of issues. You know, I was asked early on whether I thought it was a good idea to do racial profiling and fingerprinting individuals coming out of specified countries that the Attorney General had commented on. And I said, well, if we're going to do that, then perhaps we need to go back and fingerprint everybody in Oklahoma because of Terry McVeigh. The point there is that we want to make sure that we don't do exactly what you're talking about, General, and that is trample on the civil rights, because the first ones trampled would be the minority community, and we're seeing a lot of those kinds of issues surfacing already, and I'm very much concerned in that regard, and I appreciate your comments along those lines, which lead me to the second point. Wouldn't it make sense to be able to, in addition to the official role that we play here as members of Congress with these hearings and this mandate, to have a commission that would be composed of people that could bring different talents and different expertise to looking at the events of 9/11, to get a different perspective, including the issue of protecting minorities and racial profilings and all those. Don't you think that would help give a different perspective than the one that we generally give here?
Well, it might. And of course, we don't know what we don't know, and one of the things for a commission to look at is to find out all of the things we know. But I would say it would be very valuable, at least, to have an information technology group skilled enough to try to deal with the problems that you raise, and I suggested a way to deal with them. Because there may be, technology may be able to give us the access that we need to the people we want without trampling on anybody else.
Thank you. I'm out of time.
Good.
The time runs faster over here, Mr. Chairman.